Hey y'all, Brandon Snyder, team leader of Selling with the Snyder Group. And today we're going to go over the age-old question, how do I get free leads in real estate? Now, before we get started, just a couple of quick housekeeping notes. If you are looking for production-based real estate content, coaching, things like that, this channel is for you. Please like and subscribe. Follow for regular content like this. I want to talk about free leads today. I'm going to give you 3 ways you can be getting free leads in real estate. So you don't think I'm blowing any smoke, let me give you a little bit about who we are. My wife and I run a team in Houston. We have a couple agents on our team. We did about $20 million in production last year, all organic or referral-based, sphere of influence. We're going to talk about a couple of things that we use to do that $20 million in production last year. We sell real estate, and we sell it at a fairly high level. I want to give you some of the things that I've learned that don't cost money. They just cost your time. Number 1, this is the most important thing. And I think a lot of agents will get into this industry and they think, okay, I gotta pound the phones. I gotta go do FSBOs, expireds, and things like that. I gotta go buy a dialer. I gotta go get on a team, and we gotta use a certain program. That's actually not the first thing that I'm gonna highlight here. So number 1 is open houses, okay? This is how most real estate agents cut their teeth. It's really important that you understand that this is free. It just costs your time. Here's how I kind of break down open houses and how we work them and how we get such a high conversion rate when we're working open houses. Open houses, and depending on what brokerage you're at, you may only be able to work open houses within your own brokerage. I know it's like that for us. So what we normally do is we scope out some open houses in the area. That's going to be in the area that we want to be in. You get to be the local expert. You don't have to drive. We're in the greater Houston area. You don't have to drive an hour and a half to go take an open house if you don't want to, especially because that's counterintuitive to you becoming a local market expert. First and foremost, we need to lock down the area. Houston, for me, is a great, huge area. There's tons of amazing neighborhoods. There's tons of different dining and shopping and different master plan communities that you can go to. Pick that area that you want to actually work the open house in. For me, I actually live near Cypress, so if I'm going to work an open house this weekend, I'm staying in Cypress. I'm not leaving, if I can, my own neighborhood, let alone my own area. And the reason behind that is because a lot of consumers, they want a hyper-local expert in that area. They don't want someone who doesn't know what they're talking about. They want someone to hold their hand and guide them. The data shows that the average consumer wants a professional that knows what they're doing. If you're working an open house and you're talking to a prospective client and they're saying, hey, we just moved to the area, we're looking for a house, and we'll get to scripts and things like that later. But when you say, oh yeah, well, hey, this is the school ratings for XYZ schools. Oh, hey, this house is actually zoned to this high school. You've now given that prospective client an immense amount of trust in you as a perceived expert in the area. Area is a big part. If you are working open houses in an area you don't know, you can't answer the questions. Hey, what school is this zoned to? Hey, what shopping is nearby? What does the hotels look nearby if we want to have people come and stay with us? All of those things actually matter to me, matter to people, but in reality, I think the most important thing is going to be schools. One thing we can never answer is like, hey, what is the crime like? Please, for the love of God, don't ever answer that question. We're not allowed to answer that question. I always, hey, if you need to know these things, I just highly recommend you do private research on your own. And I always tell people, I'm like, school districts are always a great way to tell if it's a good neighborhood to buy in. Area. So this is the first most important thing. We're picking out the area. We're staying in that area. Okay. Let's talk about how we set up. Now, for me, open houses, they can make or break how much business you do in a year. You're going to have to set them up correctly. So we've picked out the area. We know that usually the afternoon is best. Sometimes, and depending if you're like in a luxury neighborhood or things like that, nighttime might be better. There might be days where it'd be better, but normally our team does Saturday from either 11 to 1 or 1 to 3, and Sunday we do 1 to 3. Now, why am I not talking about 11 to 1 on Sundays? We live in the South. Now, this may be different for some of y'all, but we live in the South. People are in church. You want the most amount of people at your open house as possible. You're getting them after church, after they've gone to lunch, after they've gone to church, okay? So we've now given some times. We've scheduled it. We need to schedule it ahead of time. So we're scheduling it with the agent, the listing agent, normally around Monday. We pick our open houses out on Monday. So that way that gives us 5 to 6 days of exposure. Okay. We're set up. Now you're probably asking like, hey, Brandon, okay, well, how does this get me free leads? Well, the data shows that the more time we have to expose the property to the market for the open house, the more people show up. I can tell you 5 to 6 days exposure will realistically get us 3 to 4 families minimum. If it's in the right area, it's priced right, okay, and short days on market. Well, Brandon, what about the only homes in my neighborhood are long days on market? Well, then you probably have to go outside of your neighborhood a little bit. I don't want to do long days on market. Now, there's a slight chance that we'll get 3 to 4 families that come in, but the chances of a family coming in on long days on market that are actually ready to make a decision to buy a home, that is not going to happen on long days on market. Short days on market, competition immediately gets built up. The more people that show up to the open house, the more people feel like they need to submit an offer immediately. It does not matter what market you're in. Competition is created when there's multiple people around each other. Now, this may just create an idea that someone is going to put in an offer, so you have to put, the client has to put an offer. But this is going to create higher conversion. Price right. Okay. There is another training that you can watch on how to price homes correctly. And if you're not the listing agent, then you can't really do a lot of things about the price. But if it's priced right, short days on markets in the right area, right schools, etc., you should have, as the kids say, popping open houses. Okay. We have given ourselves 5 to 6 days of exposure. And lastly, signage. Now, I'm not going to talk about what your sign should look like. You just need 10 to 15 signs. 10 to 15 signs all throughout the neighborhood, outside of the neighborhood, and pointing in the direction of how to get to your open house. Now, if you put out 3, 4 signs, you're doing yourself a disservice. If you don't have signs, talk to your brokerage about getting signs. If they don't have signs, you can go to a company like Build a Sign. You can go to your local sign installer company. Someone will be able to make you signs pretty fast because they're corrugated plastic. You don't need anything crazy. You don't need metal signs. You don't need to put H-frames into the ground. You don't need to put A-frames out. You don't even need to go buy a giant flag in front of the house day one to go do this. You need 10 to 15 signs to point people to the open house. The decision being made of if I'm going to buy this house has nothing to do with what type of signs you put out. It is all about, are you getting them to the property? Is it priced right? Is it in the right neighborhood? Etc. Now, I didn't intend this to turn into an open house training, so we're gonna knock out the rest of this really quick here. So open houses, we've got it all set up. People are showing up. Now, there's a couple different ways to do this. The way we operate is we actually do not set up a open house sign-in sheet. What we do is we actually talk to them and try and do a conversion a different way. And that conversion looks a little bit something like this. You're actually going to set up in the kitchen. Okay. Most of the people who walk in the house actually have to go in the kitchen. Like, that's one of the main features that people look for in a home. So why aren't you going in the kitchen and setting up there? Okay. Client A and B. And I say clients, I hate the word customers. I think everybody's going to turn into a client. That's just my methodology. I hate the word customers. So when you're talking, hey, prospective clients are going to walk in the kitchen. What we normally do is we partner with our local lenders to do a property website with list reports. You can do property websites through your CRMs. Most big CRMs do that, but we just use list reports. And normally what our scripting looks like is this. Hey, Mr. and Mrs. Smith, it is an absolute pleasure to meet you. Thank you for stopping by my open house today. Hey, by the way, is it okay if I send you this property website and send it to your agent? Now, notice I did not ask them if they had a real estate agent. This is really important. Hi, do you have a real estate agent? I'd love to work with you. No. Hey, Mr. and Mrs. Smith, I'd love to send this to you. It's a pleasure meeting you, by the way. Hey, I'd love to send this to you and your agent. What's your agent's contact information? Oh, well, we don't have an agent. Okay. Then we go into a little bit more deeper questioning, right? Okay, well, we know they don't have an agent. Awesome. So are you looking for homes in this specific neighborhood, or is there a range of neighborhoods that you're looking for? Then we get into qualifying questions. Now, I won't get into that today. There's a whole separate video that you can watch on that for qualifying questions. but it's really important that you understand that as soon as we get the permission to start sending them things, we now have a higher chance of conversion. Free leads, right? You just spent 2 hours, maybe even more, 3 hours of your time. You've talked to someone who's given you permission to follow up with them. This right here, I know quite a few agents, and I did it myself when I started out, that can do 24 to 36 units a year off open houses. It is all about the area, the price, days on market, the times you do it, the exposure you get, how you're taking care of people at the open house, how you're communicating with them, how you're qualifying them, and asking them the right questions. So that is number one. I mean, if you're a new real estate agent and you want to do, let's just say you want to do 12 to 16 units, that's higher than the average real estate agent. 12 to 16 units a year, you can do that off open houses alone. Well, Brandon, I'm in a rural area. How do I help people when I'm in a rural area? Or, hey, I don't have a huge metro area like Houston. How do I get involved and start doing things to create free leads that way? We're going to jump into number 2, community. At the recording of this video, I literally got a text message this morning from someone I serve with at church. Said, hey, Brandon, we're looking to buy property. Got into a group chat. We're getting them pre-approved. We're going to get the ball rolling. Community. So I'm going to break this down into a few different sections that can help you. So obviously, everyone watching this may not go to church. I'm going to use church as my number one, though. Okay? I serve on the welcome team. What do you do at church? Do you help out in kids ministry? My wife does that. People know her as a real estate professional in there. Do you serve in other aspects of the church? Okay? That is a perfect way to just, hey, you're talking to someone on Sunday, you're working, you're, just really like connecting with people and being intentional about building relationships. That's it. I mean, it's literally free. You literally are going to go to church anyway. You might as well talk to people about real estate. Okay? The second thing that I would say, what groups are you a part of? I know that I am in a couple different communities. I'm a nerd. I do a lot of nerd stuff. So I'm in quite a few Facebook groups for that. I play Magic the Gathering, so I get business off of that group. I think we sold 7 houses to Magic the Gathering players last year. If you can play Magic the Gathering and afford thousands of dollars in cardboard, then you can probably buy a house. I'm a part of quite a few of those groups, and I'm networking with those people. I have a playmat that is specifically branded with our logo on it, and people know that I sell real estate as a result of it. They know me as the real estate guy. Okay? What groups are you a part of? Are you part of mom groups? Are you a part of dad groups? Are you meeting with people in your neighborhood, in the community, weekly, monthly, quarterly, to do events and hang out and network? What are you doing to go create real estate business? These groups, and I'll even use church and groups, that can help you put another 4 to 6 deals together a year, depending on how big your communities are. Now, I want to touch on this real quick. There are so many different ways you can handle this community thing. And one of the things is going to be from a philanthropy role. And that is what my wife is doing right now. My wife is actually not selling real estate. I sell real estate. My wife helps do the director of operations role, client care role, but she's actually transitioning into a philanthropy role. Now, you don't have to be wealthy to be philanthropic. I want people to understand that. You can go, and if you pay attention to some of these investors and some of the guys who have a lot of money in the real estate world, a lot of them started out using other people's money. Philanthropic work does not need your money. It needs you to get a group of people together to do something for the greater good of people around you. Your business should be a result of the good work you do. Philanthropic work is really important. So here's what you do. You go find a local charity to be a part of. You start volunteering your time. That's philanthropic work. Your time is valuable. You're not giving them money. You're giving them time, which is just as valuable, if not more valuable, than your money. Okay? So how do we get involved with different, nonprofits and things like that? You can actually go back to your church and say, hey, I want to get involved in this. Do you know anyone that I can connect with? Hey, I want to serve domestic violence survivors. There's probably a place at your church for that. Hey, I want to help single moms. There's a place at church for that. Hey, I just want to buy coffee for the ladies at church one Sunday or during the week or whatever. Hey, I want to do this thing. Now you can either go find someone else's money to do it with, or you can literally just donate your time. Philanthropy is going to be a really good way for you to go get free leads. Also, when you are connecting with these people in these types of organizations, the average transaction price goes up. That's something that's really important. In Houston, I think our $350 is the average, but I haven't artificially built that up through market growing. But we're about $4 to $450 now. Okay, so by connecting with some higher profile clients and just people who have maybe a little bit more money, the chances are if they have time, they might have more money. That's a really big connection that we've seen with philanthropy is a lot of people who donate a lot of their time and money, they just have a lot of it. So if we want to bring that transaction price point up in Houston, I'm connecting with higher net worth individuals. I'm going from 350 to 4 to 450, all while connecting with higher net worth individuals. So we have three mainstays of our community. If you're involved in your church, you're involved in local groups and hobbies and things like that, and philanthropy, that can contribute another quite a few deals a year as a real estate agent. Now, this requires time. You have to ask yourself, am I willing to commit my time? Well, if you're doing real estate, this is all you have. You are the controlling factor in your time. You should be offering your time to people. When you offer your time to people, they're going to see you as the person that they want to do business with. Number 3, agent to agent referrals. 43% of our business last year was agent to agent. That means out of our $20 million in production and the 53 transactions that I was a part of personally, 23 of those were referrals from other agents. Now, this is not brokerage specific. This is something that you can do no matter what brokerage you're at. Whether you're in rural Arkansas or you're in New York, you should be able to build a referral business within your brokerage. Now, or outside of your brokerage. I want to highlight a couple of things here. 43% agent to agent, that was all EXP agents. We have like 90,000 people at our company. So I definitely want to point out that this number may be a little bit less for you, specifically depending on what brokerage you're at. If you're at one of the big box brokerages like KW, Remax, Coldwell, EXP, then you should be able to get a high number of agent-to-agent referrals. But there's a few different groups that I recommend you join. Lab Code Agents. This is a broker agnostic group run by Tristan Ahamuda and Nick Baldwin. I think they're both at different brokerages. One's at KW, one's at EXP. That's a huge resource. There is always tips, tricks, things like that. But this is there's also a referral group as a part of it. So it's Lab Code Agent Referrals. This is really important. I think that a lot of people miss out on how much business there is from agents to agents, because what ends up happening, and I'll give you the kind of breakdown here. Agent A is going to send to Agent B. They're going to ask for anywhere from a 25 to 35% referral fee. Now, depending on what market you're in, that sucks. Or if it's, if you're in California, 25% isn't bad. I sent a 25% referral out to a buyer back home in the Bay Area, and I got more than I would make on a regular transaction here in Houston. But this is always negotiable. I will tell you that there is no set in stone, but Agent A to Agent B sends a referral 25 to 35%. Here's what happens. That becomes 0% after closing. Now, after you close this deal, you have to continue to earn the right to have that business. You're going to want to continue to foster and nurture that relationship. Client care is huge after the transaction. But after closing, that goes to 0%. If they send you a friend, they send you a family member, you now are paying 0% as a referral fee, unless your agreement says otherwise. But 9 times out of 10, it's not happening. So you can do, I think our first year fully at EXP, I think we did 34 transactions, and I think like 14 of those were agent-to-agent referrals or something like that. I mean, it's a huge number. So what you should be doing is you should be in all of these groups. Now, some people will, at some point when you're getting busier and busier, and maybe you have disposable income right now, I'd hire a VA to scour the groups. I have friends across the country that their VAs actually tag us when there's referrals available, and I normally end up calling the agent. Now, you're not commenting on these posts for the most part. what I do is if it's within my brokerage, we utilize Workplace. I get their phone number. I call them. Hey, this is Brandon Snyder, team leader of Selling the Snyder Group in Houston. Saw you're looking for a referral in Katy. We serve that area. Happy to pay you 25% referral fee. Boom. 33% conversion rate. Now, those of you working internet leads, you're not getting a 33% conversion rate. So why don't you attack the low-hanging fruit? Some of these are going to be leads, but a lot of these are going to be bona fide referrals. You're closing business 60 to 90 days later, sometimes even sooner. I know during the pandemic, I think I would get a referral on a Friday. We would be under contract on a Monday in a lot of cases. Now the sales process takes longer. But I would be looking at these groups and seeing how you can get plugged in. And I would call them. I would add them on Facebook. I would message them. I would send them video messages. A lot of people really prefer face-to-face, voice-to-voice. They want to hear your voice. They want to know who you are so they can trust you. So we now have plugged into groups, agent-to-agent referrals. It is a huge highlight of how you can be getting free business. Now you're like, Brendan, that costs a referral fee. Yes, but you don't pay till closing. So now you're getting free business that you wouldn't have had originally just because you joined a couple of Facebook groups or you joined a brokerage that has a huge referral network. This is huge. You can do 20 deals a year off this alone. We did it. We're doing it now. I think this year, we just took like 4 listings in the past 3 or 4 months that were all referral. So this is it. You want to know the 3 things that get you free leads in this real estate business right now? And there's a ton more. You can go door knocking. You can go, you can go meet with local businesses. There's a ton more things, but these are the top 3 things that I've seen in our business to go from $0 in production to $20 million in production this past year. And we're absolutely blown away by how these things have worked. And yeah. So if you want to know more about this, hey, Brandon, what groups do I join? How do I go hire a VA? We'll have some content on that. If you look at the other videos below, you'll see how do I hire a VA. You'll see these other things, but this is it. This is the blueprint. If you have questions, feel free to contact me below. Want to partner with us and see what that looks like, get into some coaching with us, some mentorships, or potentially joining us at EXP. Our contact is below as well, and we look forward to serving you, and good luck out there.